Knifedope. More dope. Come and get your fix. What's up, fuckers? Your boy's back with a fresh batch of dope. Knifedope. That's right, people. The hits don't stop. Got one today that is coming to me from Ace, otherwise known as Giant Mouse. And this one is actually not a pass around. That's right. Your boy pulled the trigger and decided to add one to my collection. Now, this particular one that I added is just a newer version to an existing model of theirs. Full disclosure, this is probably one of the ones that intrigued me the most from Ace. But yeah, we're about to find out what it's all about. But first, I want to give you guys a little update, little knife flexing. This is the completed results of my upgrade to the Griffin Scout F3. I had these custom Damascus camel carbon inlays made for me by Spencer from Carbodize. Big shout out to him. He does fantastic work for a great price. These scales are just fucking hitting. I mean, rather, these inlays are hitting. They just hit different, you know? So let's get to it. But enough of that. First off, if you do enjoy the content, I'd ask that you would share, like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe, goddammit. It does help the channel. It does trick that algorithm. And it does help your boy to go viral. Okay, enough of that shit. This is the Giant Mouse, or rather the Ace Nazca in carbon fiber. Now, this is a recent drop of this model. I believe that at one point they also did have a carbon fiber version to this knife, but that one came with M390. This one comes with Magna Cut. It's coming in at $265. We've got basically one form of deployment on the knife, which is going to be your thumb studs. You can also actuate that crossbar if you'd like to. This is a crossbar lock. Now, the overall length comes in at 7.48 inches. We've got these fantastic contoured carbon fiber scales. Love the blade shape. Unfortunately, I don't have a name for you on the blade shape. I'm going with like a modified drop point mixed in with a little bit of sheep foot. So for all intents and purposes, we're just going to call it a drop foot. Fuck it, right? Ergonomically, this fits great in the hand. You know, you can't even play chicken there with that little sharpening tool if you needed to get it closer to the edge. For the most part, got a nice full flat grind. You know, I guess I would call it that. We do have a little bit of functional jimping there right in the middle of the blade on the spine. So when you're in the choked up position, you do have a place to kind of push down on to get some leverage. Aesthetically, this is very appealing to me. You know, I had mentioned in a previous video about how Giant Mouse, you know, the process they go through when naming their knives. They like to do a little bit of thinking rather than just throw a quick name on it. And that was evident with this as well. The name Nazca was given to this knife to basically in homage to the famous Nazca lines, which are found in the desert of southern Peru. Mainly because, just look at it. Look at the lines of this knife. Very, very impressive. You know, I can't think off the top of my head, I can't think of another knife that looks like this for sure. They also have full length 420 hardened steel liners with quite a bit of milling going on in there for your weight reduction. Weight on this came in at 4 ounces. Now, a couple of things that I'm not too fond of. Number one is going to be the thumb stud placement. You can see just how close these thumb studs are to the actual scales. You know, I think that they realized that and they ended up cutting in this little access point right there and chamfered it out. I don't know if that was a pre-production decision or if that was something they decided to do once they started building the knives. But nonetheless, it looks fantastic. Love this brass backspacer. It gives such a little contrast, little pop of color. Not a big fan of the lanyard hole by any means, but if you are going to give me one, integrate it into the backspacer for sure. Pocket clip on this is right or left hand tip up carry. Blade length came in at 3.15 inches. We've got blade stock coming in at 138 thousandths. Yeah, this is nice, people. Best Tech is the OEM on this. Now, before we get to the rest of these satin carbon fiber knives in the collection, we're going to do some comparisons for this one. So coming in first, Cold Steel Engaged. This is actually the 3-inch rendition. And we can see here that the Nazca is a little bit bigger than that. Next up, how about some Jesper Voxnäs designs? And we're going to go with the legendary F5.5, baby. God, that's such a fantastic knife. If you have not had the opportunity to try out an F5, really, you're doing yourself a disservice. It is a wonderful knife. Tons of options to choose from. Tons of variations. So just give it a shot, man. I bet you'll like it. So the Nazca is bigger than the F5. Let's do a couple more, shall we? Got to bring some American vibes. You know how we like to do. We're going to go with this one. The Native 5 with those recent AWT scales installed. So the Nazca is bigger than that. Got to have some Kaiser up in here. We're going to go with this one, the Escort. So the Nazca is smaller than the Escort. Now, before I forget also, the Nazca, just like the Escort, has multiple settings for your spring tension on these Omega springs. They don't have as many as the Escort, but there are two settings. I checked it out when I first got it. I saw the holes on there. I popped the scale, and that's exactly what they are. They are some settings for your spring tension. Let's do 2 more. God damn it, 2 more. First up, the official overseas knife of the channel. We're looking at the CJRB Echo. So the Echo is a little bit bigger than the Nazca. Last but certainly not least, another crossbar lock knife, and one that has been done exquisitely well, especially for the price point, and that is going to be the Vosti Corsair. The Corsair's got about 5 settings underneath that scale for your spring tension. This one came in at $70, contoured micarta scales, nitro V blade steel, great action, riding on bearings. Fantastic, fantastic knife. But the Nazca is also a little bit smaller than that. Well, there you fuckers have it. The Nazca. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning, I'm going to quickly go over a couple of other knives that crush this combo. The satin carbon fiber combo, I think, is one of the best looking combos with knives, for sure, for sure. So much so that I want to go ahead and do a little bit more knife flexing. So let's go ahead and check them out. Okay, this first one is not your traditional carbon fiber twill. This is the Vero Synapse. This is what they call end cut. Yeah, end cut carbon fiber. So it's a more premium cut of the carbon fiber. It looks fantastic though. Shout out to the queen on that. She actually gifted me these scales when I bought my first Synapse. This is actually Gen 3 of the Synapse. Love the belt satin finish. Best Tech is also the OEM for this one. Titanium bolsters. Also, one of the features I love on this knife is that disappearing flipper tab. You know, Vero was genius for coming up with that. Surprised that more companies have not taken that idea and installed it on their knives. I think I've seen a couple of companies do it, but I would have thought that this would have definitely taken off because it is just fantastic, you know. Gets that flipper tab out the way, and that is the Vero Synapse. All right, next one. Got to have some Spyderco in your life. You know how we like to do. The Kapara, okay? Legendary knife in its own right. Definitely has a cult following. Either you love it or you don't. I happen to love it. We've got these gorgeous contoured carbon fiber scales. This version has got the S30V blade steel, modified sheep's foot apparatus, belt satin finish. Look at that blade stock. Super slicey as a fuck, very thin behind the edge. Also utilizing Spyderco's compression lock, so your fingers are safe during disengagement. And also super fidgety as a fuck. We've got this wire pocket clip that is right or left hand tip up. And we also got that nice red G10 backspacer that definitely gives you some contrast and a little pop of color. That is the Kapara. All right. More Spyderco in your life. You can never have enough. But we're coming with the American vibes. We're looking at the Native 5 in fluted carbon fiber. That's right, people. S90V blade steel. Wonderful satin finish on the blade. Love that leaf-shaped blade. We've got a full flat grind on this one. I went ahead and threw on that Lynch Northwest Side deep carry pocket clip. They have a lockback on this Native 5, which I think is fantastic, giving you superior lockup. The knife is locking up tighter than frog's ass. We've got no play right, left, up, or down. The knife is open with that nice slow roll, or if you like me and you like to flick it, you can also flick it. 50/50 finger choil does allow for the full purchase, no refund, so you know I'm all in. That is the Native 5. Okay, last up. This is a recent drop. Literally, I'd say maybe, this thing just came out in August, if I remember correctly, and it really impressed me. This is the Devo Growler, version 2. Don't get it fucked up. This particular iteration of the Growler 2 was by far the most popular. I want to say it sold out in either 2 or 8 minutes. I think I'm leaning towards 2, but it may have been 8. I think in hindsight that if Devo would have known just how popular this particular version was going to be, they probably would have had more. But nonetheless, I feel fortunate that I got one. It was a great price. This was OEM by Kubi. They crushed it. 154 cm blade steel. Once again, we've got that satin finish blade with these fantastically done contoured carbon fiber scales. You know, slightly contoured, wire pocket clip. We also have that nice finger choil up there so you can't get that full purchase on. Love the fact that they decided to extend that jimping down the entire length of the spine. For the most part, we've got a full flat grind. 154 cm, if I didn't mention that already. So a wonderful choice of steel, allowing them to give us this great knife at a fantastic price. So that is the Growler version 2. Well, there you have it, people. We've got 5 knives that crushed the carbon fiber satin combo. And one of them happened to be the Nazca, which I just added to the collection. So I'm interested to know what y'all think. Do you guys feel as strongly about the carbon fiber satin vibe as myself? Tell me all about it. What about that Nazca? Are you digging it? I definitely want to know. Love you, mean it. Until the next time, cut something, cut someone. Just don't cut yourself. Stay dangerous, fuckers.